There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. If you travel in leftist circles, and why would you do that to yourself, you often hear this phrase. Like all slogans, it's concise, but flawed. Leftists use this slogan, ignoring the inherent problem that it's a vague generalization. When you say there is no ethical consumption, the implication is that all consumption is equally immoral. But any rational person would agree that buying produce from a local farmer's market is not equivalent to paying for a vacation where you get to hunt human beings. And for the record, we at the CMPF do not condone hunting man for sport. You should only hunt man for food. Vague generalizations are detrimental to a cause, especially if that cause is resisting capitalism. But the dirty little secret is that the leftists who point out the lack of ethical consumption don't want to resist capitalism. When leftists say there is no ethical consumption, their goal is not to instill a spirit of revolution or even defiance. Instead, they use capitalism's absolute corruption to justify their own absolute subservience. Just as doomers use life's hopelessness to justify doing jack, leftists use the lack of ethical consumption to justify participating in some of the most unethical forms of consumption. The argument of no ethical consumption mutates from a trumpet of revolution to a whine of self-absolution. If everything is a sin, then there is no sin. Let's buy another taco from a fast food chain that criminally underpays its minority employees. This rationalization is, of course, untrue. Not even we communists believe all capitalism is equally evil. By using the lack of ethical consumption to justify complete submission, leftists rob themselves of the tools to resist capitalism, or at the very least, corporatism. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about woke capitalism, which is when corporations trick guilt-ridden liberals into buying products that will somehow save the planet, but really accomplish nothing while costing 10 times as much as the generic brand. We agree 100% that woke capitalism doesn't accomplish a Marx damn thing. The only viable, stupidly simple way to resist capitalism's most heinous evils is to shop local. It sounds silly. It sounds trite. But in the history of our program, we have never been more serious than we are right now. As much as you can afford, buy from local small businesses. The reason shopping local is an act of resistance is because it keeps the wealth of your community in your community. If you support local small businesses, they hire local people who spend their wages in your city. If you buy from multinational corporations, your money disappears up the snouts of capitalist pigs.
I said money, damn!
A business that operates in one community wants that community to thrive. A corporation that has thousands of locations across hundreds of countries couldn't give two about your community. But most importantly, a local small business can be held accountable. Betraying the public's trust is far more fatal to small businesses than to corporations. Is shopping local a perfect solution? Of course not. The only perfect solution is to stage a worldwide revolution that completely upends global society. Then all the workers of the world can experience the joys of communism. But until we find the courage to stage such a revolution, shopping locally is the simplest method of resistance. Saying there is no ethical consumption under capitalism is not a lie, but it is imprecise. And now more than ever we need precision. So instead of saying there is no ethical consumption, we ought to say, all forms of consumption under capitalism are evil, but some forms are more evil than others. Produced in collaboration with Fort Collins Public Media. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions for future episodes, please email us at communistfinance@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at Comrade Rourke.